This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. A village chief was shot to death by unidentified armed men Friday night on Edenville Road in Barangay Partida, Norzagaray, Bulacan. Police identified the victim as Marcelino Correa Punzal, 63, village chief of Barangay Bangkal, Norzagaray. In the initial report he sent to Central Luzon Police Director Brigadier General Jose S. Hidalgo Jr., Norzagaray Acting Police Chief Lieutenant Colonel Linal F. Solomon said they were informed by a concerned citizen about the shooting incident. Norzagaray police immediately proceeded to the crime scene where they saw the victim already dead inside a Mitsubishi Estrada with plate number XJV160. The victim sustained multiple gunshot wounds in the head and body. Personnel from the Bulacan Police Provincial Forensic Unit recovered from the scene several pieces of fired cartridges and a slug from a .45 caliber gun. The mayor of this town and his two siblings were arrested after unlicensed firearms were seized from them during a raid by the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, National Capital Region and their houses here on Saturday, June 17th. The raids against Mayor Nilo Villanueva and brothers Bayani, a barangay chairman and president of the Association of Barangay Chairmen, and Oliver Villanueva, 46, a former police officer, were carried out through search warrants issued by Antipolo City Regional Trial Court Branch 74 Executive Judge Mary Josephine Lazaro. The CIDG-NCR and Special Action Force first raided the house of Oliver in Sisiopuk, Barangay Pilangnagan at 4:20 am. Found in the house were a caliber 22 pistol, caliber 45 pistol, 2 magazines for a caliber 5.56mm rifle, 3 magazines for a caliber 45 pistol, a hand grenade, 16 rounds of ammunition for a caliber 5.56mm rifle, and 55 rounds of ammunition for a caliber 45 pistol. Oliver is facing charges for violating Republic Act 105-91, the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulations Act, and RA 95-16, Law on Explosives. Mayor Villanueva's house at Villanueva Compound, Sitio Silangan, Barangay Santo Tomas, was raided 10 minutes later at 4:30 am. Seized from the house was a pouch containing a suspected explosive device but no firearms were found. The local chief executive is facing charges for violating RA 95-16. Bayani's house was last to be raided at 5:25 am. in Sitio Silangan, Barangay Santo Tomas. Found were a Bushmaster caliber 5.56mm rifle, a magazine for a caliber 5.56mm rifle, 10 rounds of ammunition for a caliber 5.56mm rifle, and a MK2 hand fragmentation grenade. He is facing charges for violating RA 105-91 and 95-16. Lawmen also raided the house of another sibling, Ariel, at around 5:30 am. in Sitio Canlaran, Barangay Sampaguita, but he was not present. But they recovered a Bushmaster caliber 5.56mm rifle, a magazine for a caliber 5.56mm rifle, and 10 rounds of ammunition for a caliber 5.56mm rifle. The operation is part of Oplan Paglalansag Omega, a flagship project of the CIDG. Mayor Villanueva and his siblings have been taken to CIDG headquarters in Camp Crame in Quezon City. A dismissed police officer was arrested for unlicensed firearms in Calamba City, Laguna on Sunday, June 18th. Police Colonel Randy Glenn Silvio, Laguna Police Director, identified the suspect as Arnold of Tondo, Manila. Police Lieutenant Colonel Melanie Martires, Calamba Police Chief, said the suspect yielded firearms in a checkpoint and introduced himself as a police officer. The suspect presented documents for his firearms which later turned out to be spurious, and he was also found out to be a police officer dismissed from the service in 2018. He was arrested and a preventive search discovered a Taurus caliber 45, a Norinco caliber 45, magazines, ammunition, 2 cell phones, a flashlight, a green bag, a black holster, 7 Philippine National Police identification cards, a driver's license, a national ID, a police security protection group ID, an IMEX ID, a social security system ID, 2 vaccination cards, assorted keys, and 5,840 pesos. Suspect is in the custody of the Calamba police station and faces charges for usurpation of authority and violation of Republic Act 105/91 or the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act. Confiscated guns were submitted to the crime laboratories for ballistic examination. Some 8,313 firearms with expired licenses belong to elected officials, the Philippine National Police said on Tuesday. Speaking to reporters in Camp Crame, PNP Civil Security Group Director Brigadier General Benjamin Silo Jr. said the figure comprises 27% of 30,068 firearms registered to elected officials. What we did in CSG is we provide extra special effort to encourage these people, elected officials, to renew their expired licenses. Our safe estimate is 50% of these expired firearms are from barangay officials. Aside from our internal efforts to encourage them to renew their firearms, we will be coordinating with Barangay Affairs of DILG for them to help us encourage barangay officials so that they can renew their licenses, especially that the BSK is approaching, Silo said. He added that they will also furnish the Commission on Elections with a list of barangay officials owning firearms with expired licenses. Silo said elected officials should set a good example to civilians in terms of firearms ownership through the regular renewal of their gun licenses. It's more on encouraging them to comply with the provision of RA 105/91. It's more on encouraging them to comply with the provision of RA 105/91. The first ones who must follow the rules and provisions of the law are government officials and elected officials. I hope we can be a model so that we can make sure that the coming BSKE will be peaceful, quiet and orderly, he stressed. Meanwhile, a total of 19,000 out of a total of 539,000 firearms with expired licenses belong to police and military personnel. He said they already conveyed this matter to the offices of the concerned personnel. Silo said that those PNP personnel will face administrative cases once they violate any provision of penal laws to require their members to comply with the requirements of the law. At least 4 personnel of the Traffic Enforcement Agency of Mandawi were dismissed from service last month due to misconduct. Edwin Jumeoas, head of team, said on Tuesday, June 20, 2023, that the dismissed employees have already been replaced. Jumeoa said the personnel were recommended for termination following an investigation on complaints made by several motorists. The team head, however, declined to identify the erring personnel and the nature of their offenses. There are complaints at the office, and these are being looked upon. Some of them had previously committed offenses that were repeated, leading to suspensions on both occasions and a final suspension that led to termination, Jumeoa said. Jumeoa said they do not tolerate erring personnel and encouraged all motorists or drivers that have complaints against his men to feel free to go to their office. Jumeoa said the employees admitted their mistakes, while others chose to retire. Data shared by team revealed that there are already 13 team personnel who have been dismissed from service since 2021. 3 officers of the Zamboanga City Police were relieved from their posts following the death of a waiter under their custody, its chief said Wednesday. The 3 police officers are being investigated by the Philippine National Police's Regional Internal Affairs Service and the Commission on Human Rights. Zamboanga City Police Chief Colonel Alexander Lorenzo told ABS-CBN's Teleradio. Lorenzo said RIAS has obtained a copy of the autopsy on the corpse of Reynaldo Paragas Jr., a waiter who died while being escorted by police following an altercation with a retired police major at the bar where he was working. The RIAS is now looking at the victim's bruises and injuries and basing their investigation on the autopsy results on his corpse. Up until then, the only available evidence was footage from a CCTV camera in the restaurant, which is in a remote barangay in Zamboanga City, he added. The incident stemmed from a brawl between Paragas and a retired police major identified only as a certain Cuarta Cruz. Lorenzo said Cuarta Cruz, a stroke victim, was persistently asking Paragas to serve him beer, even if he was advised against doing so by his fellow retired officer and his son. Paragas refused Cuarta Cruz's requests, resulting in a heated argument that later allegedly escalated into a fistfight. Officers had told Paragas kin that the victim had died after jumping out of a police car following the brawl, but Paragas' relative Cecilia, quoting a doctor, told ABS-CBN's teleradio on Tuesday that the victim might have been hit by a hard object based on his head injuries. Cecilia further alleged that when Cuatacras learned Paragus was dead, he immediately went to where the waiter's remains were found and said, "Serves you right. We don't know where to get justice," she said. Lorenzo said that as of Wednesday, the 3 police officers were already under the PNP's administrative custody while the investigation on Paragus' death was ongoing. The National Bureau of Investigation has relieved the chief of the Security Management Section after a high-profile detainee, Jose Adrian Jad-Dera, was reportedly allowed to go out of the Bureau's detention facility on Tuesday evening. The NBI assures the public that our organization will not condone acts of betrayal of public trust. The chief of the Security Management Section was already relieved from his post pending the investigation of the case, the Bureau said in a statement on Wednesday. It added, "Rest assured that the tasked investigators will thoroughly look into the bottom of the incident, including the possible involvement of other personalities, and will immediately file the appropriate criminal and administrative cases." The statement did not name the security management chief, nor was the name indicated on the NBI website. Dara was later caught as he was returning to the NBI compound in Manila. In a TV5 interview, Dara's lawyer, Raymond Pallad, said his client was allowed to go out to get medical attention. Dara, he added, left the detention center on a marked vehicle with 6 NBI security escorts. Dara is also among the co-accused in the illegal drug trade case that former Senator Leila de Lima is facing at Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court. Aside from this, Dara is also accused of acting as a bagman of Negros Oriental Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr., who is suspected of being the mastermind in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. That's all for this week. I'll see you next week with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.